Alright, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to code this little layout here. We've got this heading text over here on the left with some body text. We've got this gradient HR, this little line here, and then we've got the YouTube video on the right. And so what we want to do is we also want to make this responsive. So right now I've got in my text editor, I've got my PHP file, or it could be HTML, and I've got my CSS file set up here, and you can see I'm including my CSS here. I've also got jQuery in case we need it. I probably won't, but it's there. And in my CSS, right now I've just got a couple of things in here. I've got the body with the margin set to 0, and I've got a media query for when we want to start doing responsive. So first things first, let's take a look here. And so it looks like we're gonna have basically two sections here. So we'll go ahead and create a section with a couple of divs in it. So let's start by, and we'll give it an ID of, we'll just call it home banner, and call it whatever you want. Alright, and so let's type two divs inside here. And alright, so there we've got that. Let's take another look here. So it looks like we've got, we'll call this an H1, an H2, an HR, and a P tag. So let's create those tags on the left side here. Oops. And then we got the HR tag, and then we've got our P tags. So we'll go ahead and put in this text. Oh, that's going to actually be on the next line. To our restaurant. Make sure I spelled that right. Restaurant. Yes, that's the thing, is web developers can't spell. R-E-S-T-A-U. Rant. Yeah. Alright. And then we've got some filler text here. We can probably just put in some lorem ipsum. So let's take a little bit of lorem ipsum here from my cheat sheet. And that ought to do. That's just some filler text there. And then on the other side, we're going to have our YouTube video. So let's wrap that in another div. And let's go and grab a YouTube video. There we go. Finally something. Okay, so let's go with this video here. And let's get the embed code. And we're going to take all this and copy and paste it in here. And then we're probably going to come and adjust this. But let's go ahead and save this and see what we've got on our page here. Alright, so we can see our stuff is in place. So let's go ahead and get this going with the left and right here. So we're going to go into our CSS and we're going to create section, the ID of home banner, and we're going to say display flex, and this should put them side by side. Alright, there we go. So we also probably want to put a max width on this, and I'm going to say this is about 1,000. right? Maybe a little bigger than that, but okay. So we also want to center this, so we're going to do margin 0 pix auto, and that's going to center it. So that looks good. And let's take another look here. It looks like we probably need some padding, and so what we can do on that is we can just easily go take this and then yeah, it's this way. Yeah, this means the first div, or the direct sibling of that, we are gonna say padding. Let's give it 20 pixels of padding, and let's see if that works for us there. Okay, it did not. So let's see, why did that not work? Maybe it's this way? Yeah, okay, so I have my little arrow the wrong way. Okay, so anyway, so now we've got the padding, we're starting to get somewhere. So let's go ahead and, normally you would use like a Google font or something here to style this, but we're going to just call this sans serif and, or I'm sorry, serif and then sans serif. So let's put on the, let's go ahead and do it like this, H1, and you know what, we'll go ahead and create H2 in a P tag here. So we're going to say font family serif, and then this is going to be sans. So let's see if we're doing this right. Alright, so that's looking better. Now obviously it's not the same font, but you get the idea of what we're going for. So you also notice this is all caps here, so we can put on that second H2 tag, we can go text transform uppercase. So that should make it, there we go. And we could change the font colors here if we want. We can call this one color gray. So we're starting to get somewhere here, and maybe we can do the line height. Well, actually, let's go ahead and give it a font size. We'll call it 17 pixels. You can adjust this to whatever, and then we'll say line height, and I'm going to say, how about 24 pixels? Alright, so that's starting to look like something. And probably want to make our H1 tag a bit bigger, so let's go back to that and call font size. Let's go with 68 pixels. Okay, that's really big, but hey, we don't have to be exactly the same. And let's go ahead and give margin 0 pix for both of these, because actually for all of these, because they all inherit margin space. You could do this in a global declaration, but right now I'm just putting it in each one. Okay. So we're getting somewhere here. Alright. Let's change the size. Let's do the, let's see if we can change the font weight of the H2 tag. To 300. Let's see if it'll take this. Okay, well it made it less than bold. I don't know if you can, if it recognizes this without a Google font. Yeah, it looks like we could just call this normal, so it's not bolded. Yeah, okay. So, and let's go ahead and give it a font size in case we want to play around. So let's go back up here and let's call it 34. That's a little bit big. Why don't we, let's see here. Why don't we make our wrapper bigger here? Let's call this 1200. Alright. Alright, so that's looking like something. So, alright. I guess that looks close, but we need to style the HR. So let's go over to Stack Overflow and let's look for CSS gradient HR. You know what? Let's look on good old search engine. See what we can find. Here, this looks good right here. So let's see if we can just copy this in here for a moment. I'm going to go ahead and put it inside of our section. And I'm pretty sure this needs to have a border of 0 pixels. And then I go, yeah, let's see how this looks here. Okay, so that's, you could style it to your taste, but now we want to make it just like a percentage of this. So let's say width of 10%. Alright, and I guess we want to align it left. So let's see if we can text align. Not sure if this is going to work. We may have to do something else here. Okay. Maybe display inline block. I don't know if this is going to work either. Oh, it did. Okay. So, well, that's pleasant. I'm just curious if the text align has anything to do with it. Okay, so just making it inline block makes it go left. So that's good. All right, and that's because our P element's a block, so it's going to create that space. Let's add some margin bottom to our H2 tag and to the HR. So top right, and let's say 20 pixels on the bottom. And let's do the same for our HR tag. Clean this up a little bit here. Okay, all right, getting somewhere, getting somewhere. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we're really close. I mean, obviously you could massage this however you want, you know, maybe make this HR just like 3 pixels, you know. Something like that, you know, just to your, but we've got the general layout here, so we're not going to be responsive. So we see that that's pushing over there. So we probably, what we want to do is we want to start making this guy on the right responsive. Alright. Okay, I think this is going to be it right here. So let's get this into our... So we're going to call it video wrapper on our div here, class. And so this look, let's take a look here. Yeah, let's see what we got going on with this. Okay, Okay, that's no good right there. Disappeared. So I think what we need is that second div to have a minimum. Probably need to put a width on these guys. So let's see what happens if we go width 50%. Okay, that's looking good. So let's see if it's, yeah, it's becoming responsive there. So that's nice. That's actually getting us really far here. So at some point we're gonna probably want to put this video either on the top or below. So, and you know, once we get here, we might want to make this font a little smaller. So let's do that. Let's say between, let's find out what our measurements are here. We can go to the responsive view and let's see if it lets us, yeah. So we're good until about, I'd say, right here at, we could call it 960. 960, let's do 960 up until, let's say 820 to 960. Let's do that. So let's go, I'm just going to copy this over so we keep that other one there. What do we say, 960, so we'll call it 959 and 820, I think that's what I just said. Alright, so at this point we want to start making these guys over here, the H1, H2, and them smaller. So let's copy this down into here. And, you know, this is where you could start doing relative, like EM. But for the sake of this, I'm going to just keep it at pixels. And I'm going to take out some of this unnecessary. So we've got that, da-da-da-da-da. And, there we go. Keep that line height. We might adjust that. So let's take a look here. Around here. So let's go ahead and make the H1 tag a good bit smaller. So let's call it 52. And this H2 tag, let's call it about 29. And then the P tag, let's drop it down to 16. And reduce our line height to 21. Let's just see what we get with these numbers. Alright, that's getting there. So when we pull out to, oh sorry, wrong, I don't need to have that like that. Yeah, okay. Boom. So you can see right there, when we get below 960, it pops down. So we're looking okay, looking okay. Boom, pops down. You know, we could probably make that P tag a little smaller, probably make our H2 tag a little smaller. So let's drop this down to 26 and drop this down to 15. Yeah, let's see what we got with these numbers. It's looking better. Yeah, it's looking better. So I guess once we pop there, let's do one more step. Let's go from, we're going to call it 768 to 819. So you can start to see how we're getting pretty precise here, and you can just take this concept and run with it. So let's say, okay, now we're going to get down below, right in this range. Alright, so let's drop our H2 down to, let's go 48. And our, I'm sorry, H1, and then H2, let's drop that down to 21. And our P down to 14 with 19. We may be getting, we may be pushing it here. Okay. That's, yeah, I mean, it's right about there, you know, it's probably reduce these margins a little bit, and yeah, this is really, it's kind of pushing it, but let's see what if we can drop these down just a hair more. Let's go to 46, drop that to 20, and let's make our bottom margin, let's call it 12. Let's also do that on the HR tag. Let's pull that one down here. Alright, let's see. Let's call that 12 as well. So let's see what we got here. Let's see how we're looking. Yeah, it's doable. You know, I mean, it's, you don't want to get this P tag too small, but this is going to be probably someone looking at it on an iPad. So we're getting somewhere here. Yeah, and obviously you'd have to adjust this for how much text you have here, you know. But I'd say we're looking pretty good. So let's make the video pop below once we get below 768. So which is what we've got here. So let's call, we're going to take off the flex and take off the width. So let's bring that back down here. I'm gonna call this block. And we're going to say max width. That probably doesn't really even matter what that is. So we'll do that. And then right here, I guess we can keep that padding on there for the time being, but we could call the width auto. I believe this is going to work. So let's see what we get here. Yeah, so that's working. And you know, you might could do another level once you get down here. It's up to you. I guess I can show you how to do that. I mean, it kind of looks good with the big popping text, but if you just wanted to have one more step, and we can see our YouTube video is being responsive, that's good. And you maybe would want to lessen this padding here. I don't know, it's kind of good. So, and our HR tag, maybe we could make it a little bit longer once we get down to, let's say, once we get down to, how about we say below, we'll go 399. So let's do another here. We're going to call this 399. And what do we say we're going to do? Okay, we're going to make the fonts just a little bit smaller and lessen that margin on the P. So let's go ahead and get that P, and let's take all this stuff here out of this guy. Yeah. So we're getting back to, we're inheriting the full page sizes here. Let's just see how this looks when we copied in this series here. Alright, that still needs to go a little smaller. Boom, okay. So that to me looks too small. So let's bump these up. Let's call this 52. Let's call this 22. Let's call this 16. Go back to 21 here. And let's put a margin on the bottom of this guy. I think that's inheriting. Let's go back up here and see. Margin, it should be... Oh, we've got the... Okay, yeah. Maybe... I'm not sure what's creating this space. Oh, it's probably the padding on this other one here. So we could actually remove the padding on that one. Why don't we try that? Let's pull in the second div. So I'll show you how to do that. What we can do is we can come down here. And this is where we're going to use int of type. Two, and we'll call the padding 0. Actually, we're going to do padding. We want to keep the left and right padding, so we're going to do something like this. Should work. Let's see if that lessens that space. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, you know, you might make that a little bit bigger, but let's see, once we get down here pretty small, we're looking all right. You know, this, you could maybe make that P tag one size smaller. Let's drop that down and maybe make the H2 tag just a little bit bigger. We're just kind of tweaking stuff here. Yeah. So we're pretty much there, you know. You know, you could massage this and do what you want, but I'm gonna call that a wrap.